And good afternoon, good evening, and good morning. My progress report on this Galaxy gas-fired steam boiler from Slant. And you may remember from the last report, we got this tied into the the existing main steam supply, and we were kind of discussing the rather strange requirements that they had for this riser. And what was pointed out by Steamhead today was that the drawings that was there was probably based on when they didn't have as much insulation, when this was a slightly different designed boiler, and sheet was actually very much closer to the original outlet rather than all the way down there like it is now. And that would tend to explain the rather bizarre requirements. So I think we got that one nailed down. The 12-inch turn, yeah, it's probably would have been a nice thing to have if we could have done it. The 2.5-inch equalizer, I think that was, I think most people think that's pretty risible. So I reduced it down to 2-inch, which is still significantly greater than most manufacturers of steam boilers that call out for in this size. And it goes down to 1.5 inches, and then it reduces down to 1.25 inches. So we got good American steel nipple there, and then we kind of switch over to import quality. Got a good full or almost full port drain valve there, three-quarter. This is, let me show you what they supply with the boiler. It's good. It's got it's a ball valve. Let me see if I can manipulate it for you. There's your ball valve, but it's really a 1/2 inch line. It says 3/4, but really the only thing 3/4 about it is the connection on the end. They just basically stuck a 1/2 inch drain valve on a 3/4 inch bushing for all that is. So there's the difference, and this pretty much has gone in the scrap bucket. Should not have even bothered to supply it. So we got a bushing for removal to clear this area out, and there is the Harford loop. That's a close brass nipple. If you can see, if I were to clear the tape, you'd see that was brass. Got a brass 90. And then we're going to transition to copper, and we'll put a T here for feeding the water, and probably put a ball valve here for a no return flush. And then we're going to tie into this 1 by 3/4 female by 1-inch sweat, and gonna put a nice full port ball valve right there and get this thing so that it can really get that nice and drained quickly. You may remember from the previous video that what was here at this fairly unique skimmer focus here is getting wonky. Skimmer tapping is there's this nipple, really short nipple. You really couldn't get a good grip on it. I used this rigid nipple extractor and a pipe wrench to get it out. And you'll notice that one of the peculiarities of slant fin is they use this sort of salmon pink dope, which they must buy by the railroad car. Because they just use this stuff up everywhere. It gets into everything. I think they might even use it as a condiment dip in the company cafeteria. I'm not sure, but that's all fine and well. But what happens is this dope, although it's nice and gooey now, nice and soft now, when the steam hits it in a very short period of time, that hardens up rock hard and locks this thing in and makes it all that much more difficult to remove. You can get the cap off, but this short nipple just isn't any good. You really can't get anything on it, if it fails. So I've replaced it with a slightly longer nipple, put Teflon tape and pipe dope on there, so if this thing fails, I can get it out, and you can get a wrench on it there in this rather tight space because there's not a lot of room anymore. Got a T here with a plug. Probably should have used a cross T, but this will work. This way you can ream it out because this does fill up with goo over time. This also does fill up with goo, but you can take this out and probably rod it up. Take one of these sight glass rods and come on up. I've got the bucket under there, so you can flush that out. The cap that I removed is basically hand tight on there to prevent accidental discharge of hot, rusty water. The sight glass fittings have been installed. I've made sure these things are fully open before you fill it. I had that happen to me one time where I forgot to open these up and started filling, and hey, where's the water? When it started coming out of the vents, that's where the water was. There was nothing showing up in the sight glass because these guys were shut. I got the sight glass blowdown valve on there. Let's see if you can see it. When you take the rods out, see it from the bottom there. That's where the, let's see, yeah, there it is. You can probably see it. There we are. And this is the plug that they put there. That's what they call it, a valve. It's a bit of a joke. These make excellent expedient 1/4-inch plugs, especially when they're nice and new and shiny like this. And so that goes. Shut that. We'll put the sight glass on probably tomorrow. Don't want to risk breaking it. So I got the gas in too. We tied it in from the gas work that we did last week. Punched a hole in the cabinet there to mimic that hole using a hydraulic punch, which has worked out quite well. Got it tied in there and tied into our gas valve. One thing I noticed, there's room for another burner in here, but they plugged it up, which means they've got a smaller flame in here going into this boiler, which is kind of nice. Sometimes they fire these things pretty hot, and I think it puts a lot of stress on the cast iron. So the fact that they've got that essentially downfired, even though it's rated at 408 square feet of steam, you can probably go down a little lower and not suffer too much loss in efficiency. They do have this nice Honeywell spark module. There's their latest and greatest with all these error codes and readouts of the milliamp flame signal. I think there's a bunch of little blinking lights down here, LEDs and so forth, which give the status of that thing, which is a really nice nice idea there. So I got the relief valve plumbed in, and then I'm going to put the drip line and discharge it out there and do some be in my world of copper tomorrow. As you can see, we've got the pressure troll hooked up on the pigtail, and that's how the pressure troll comes, set like that. So it's set from the factory, so that's okay. That pressure should be okay, right? Boy. All right, so the flue is piped in. Looks a little off kilter, but I think that should work. And the damper motor is accessible for repair and servicing. And there is the blocked flue switch on guard with its little reset there in case that kicks out. Of course, there's your low water cutoff. This wire here, I think, goes up to the pressure troll, and I think you bring in the thermostat wire and break it there. This wire also, which was coiled up, probably saw it in an earlier video, goes also in the pressure troll. And yeah, this is where your 120 volts go in. And yeah, there's your rollout sensor there, which your fusible link, which blows if that gets too hot down there. So I think we're making progress. I think tomorrow we'll be able to fill this thing. Yeah, I got some beam clamps here for the, I'm going to run some all thread down here and mount them. That's my idea of mounting, where mounting the VXT. There's the terminus for the water supply. I'll probably mount the backflow up in there before it gets to the VXT. And I'm going to tie it right in that line, as I think I mentioned before. So it's not looking half bad, if I do say so myself. And again, I really appreciate your comments and your questions and your advice. It's all very much appreciated. And have a good night. See you tomorrow, I hope.